Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Blades. You don't have to jump up. They train them in law school to jump up. All right, so before we get to all the jurors here, and I guess they're coming in, I don't know how many we've got, but I wanted to take care of some pre-trial stuff. So you brought a bunch of paperwork in 2 weeks ago or so? Okay. Most of that, I couldn't figure out if you were asking for something, if you just submitted that for the court to have it. The one thing that looked like an ask was you filed a motion basically attacking the Monroe County conviction again. Would you agree?
Yes, I mean, I put that in there.
Okay. Well, we argued that out once, and I told you that whether or not Monroe messed up, I could not overturn what happened at the Monroe District Court. You'd either have to go back to the District Court or the Circuit Court in Monroe County. Remember that? We argued that motion once? All right. Is there anything else that you want to deal with out of those filings or anything else prior to getting the jury in? I can't hear you. Yeah, pull it in. Okay. So you filed a stack of documents a couple weeks ago. Okay. I want to know if there's any of that you want to deal with now, because we're not going to argue motions in front of the jury.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So none of that filing is something you wanted to deal with before the trial. Okay. So you're planning on submitting 240 some pages worth of evidence today? Okay. Understand that all of that's subject to an objection from her if it's not relevant. Okay. All right. And I'm going to tell you right now, all of that stuff from Monroe is not relevant.
Talking about the record.
I'm sorry? The record. The driving. Well, the driving, I'm assuming the people will plan on introducing your driving record. Okay. All right. Okay. So do you have any other pre-trial questions?
Yes. Some gamers made the evidence to the jury. So,
Okay. Well, I don't know if you will or not, because as you submit something for evidence, we'll have a discussion about whether or not it's relevant, whether or not it's probative versus prejudicial, all those things through the court rules. Understood?
you know, where these very,
That's all right. Take your time.
validity of the judgment. Validity of the judgment.
But it doesn't, and I explained that to you when you filed that motion. The Secretary of State, hold on, let me talk. The date of this arrest, if she can prove, she being the prosecutor, if she can prove that on the day of this stop, your license was suspended from the Secretary of State, the fact that it was improperly suspended by Monroe County doesn't change the fact that the officer had paperwork that said you were suspended from Secretary of State. That's why I told you months ago, you have to attack that judgment in Monroe if you think it's inappropriate. But, and I told you, I can't,
to overturn, just to recognize the jurisdictional defects. We are
but hold on. It doesn't matter if I recognize something. Sir, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. It doesn't matter even if I agree with you that Monroe did something wrong, there's still a valid suspension from the Secretary of State. But you have to deal, but you can't deal with that here. Well, whether or not you can make that argument to them is based on the discussion we have. You want to have that discussion now, we can have it. Well, no. You're not going to present anything to the jury until I tell you you can't. That's the way it works. So let's argue that right now. You want to present your theory of the Monroe case. Interrupt me one more time, sir. We're going to have a long day today. Interrupt me again, and I'm going to hold you in contempt. Do you understand that? If you want to present to the jury what you claim was wrong in Monroe that led to an improper judgment that went to a Secretary of State suspension, if you want to argue that to the jury, we'll discuss whether or not that should be in front of the jury today right now. Is that your argument? Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to, I tried to put in my words what you're trying to do. Do you want to put it in your own words so I can give Madam Prosecutor a chance to respond?
Okay.
Okay. Madam Pros? Okay, well, that's too vague. That's too vague. That's too vague. Once again, yes or no? You want to talk about what you think was wrong in Monroe to this jury today?
No, I want to talk about the record and how it got there to the jury today.
And how are you, and what is that going to be?
That's going to be the laws of the four rules. The four rules, that's all I plan to present, four rules, and the judge needs to be based upon the four rules.
Doesn't that get you to a discussion about Monroe County?
It all starts with the record. It all depends on how the record got there. What was that because prosecutor and according to your statement you just made is the record. What he saw when he pulled me over is what he went by when he arrested. Okay.
Well, I can guarantee that's going to be part of the case because this is a drove while license suspended charge. My
Has to be authenticated as to why it is there.
I disagree with you, sir. I disagree with you, sir. What she's going to have to, what the prosecutor's going to have to present today is a certified record from Secretary of State that shows you were suspended. There's nothing that says we have to get into why you were suspended or how you were suspended.
Well,
What court rule are you referring to?
2.105.
What's that say?
Individual. Process may be served on a resident or non-resident individual by delivering a summons and a copy of the complaint to the defendant.
Mr. Blade, let me stop you. That court rule is about civil cases, like if you're not paying your credit card bill. That's for civil cases, not for drove while license suspended charges. Not for criminal cases. It most certainly is. It's a 93-day misdemeanor. Drove while license suspended, revoked, or denied. That's the top charge on your file. It's a criminal case.
You can't be a criminal charge because
Sir, trust me when I tell you, I can put you in jail on this charge. By definition, that means it's a criminal charge. So we're not talking about civil court rules. It's irrelevant. Because that court rule, 2.105, is regarding civil process, not criminal. I told you when you said you wanted to have a jury trial by yourself, you were in over your head. We're not talking about 2.105 today. Not in front of the jury.
How was that move forward though?
I'm sorry, what? I don't understand what a containment is. Continuance? Absolutely denied. The jury's coming in today for a jury trial. We gave you a scheduling order that gave you plenty of time to file any pretrial motions. I gave you grace today when I talked about what you've brought in 2 weeks ago because that was a day late. So absolutely no, you are not getting a continuance today. If you want to take 2 or 3 minutes and talk to the prosecutor about seeing if there's any offer, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to a jury trial without an attorney, because that was your choice, with all 3 charges.
Another study, prosecutor, please.
I'm sorry, was that a yes to discussion?
Yes.
Okay, all right, take a few minutes, not a lot, because as soon as I've got enough jurors, I want to get them started if we're going to work them. Ms. Caitlin Foley, did you have conversation?
Yeah, we need to go to resolution for the trial.
Okay, what is it?
The license suspended, you will be dispensing the operating infraction vehicle as well as the unlawful use of license plate.
Okay. Mr. Blades, correct? You understand your rights and the options those rights present? You understand the possible penalty of the charge is up to 93 days in jail, up to $500 fines plus court costs? And that's the deal you want to make today? Did you drive a vehicle in Huron Township on November 29, 25? At the time, was your license showing as suspended, revoked, or denied from Secretary of State's records? Are you satisfied with the plea? I'll accept the plea to count 1, dismiss counts 2 and 3. Mr. Blades, let's talk about your financial situation. Are you working? Yes? Where do you work? Full-time job? Full-time job? And All right, anything else you want me to consider before I sentence you?
What do you find?
Yeah, lean up, yeah.
What do you find my department? Don't say no to my department.
Tell me about it. In a word? Go ahead. Okay.
I'm scared. I have bills, I have friends, I have children, but I don't have a lot of playtime. I have to get back and forth to work. So that really has us, really.
Give me, all right, give me an idea, what kind of shift are you on? What kind of schedule? 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.? How many hours a week you're working? Okay, well, what's a minimum in a week? I mean, like 35, 40 every week, or it could be 0 to 40?
I get regular work days, because how many hours I'm working.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Well, let me tell you this. We've got other files in this building. One of them goes back to 10 years old, 2016. Currently, you owe us over $3,000. I don't see any attempts to make any payments on these.
On nothing. You did that.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah, well, I'm not gonna pay a clerk to process a dollar payment. I mean, that's a net loss to the building. So I've got some options. Well, first of all, let's talk about the old money before we talk about today's file. On the $3,000, yeah, you guys don't have to stick around for this if you don't want to. For the $3,000, I can send you down and we can put you on the work program. Unfortunately, that means you got to be out here because we don't do the work program in Monroe. I can give you work days, which means you pick the days. The days you pick, you have to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning to go out with the crew. Or I can give you some community service hours, which means you work with a charity, nonprofit registered with the IRS. You can work off our list, or you can find someplace closer to Monroe County or, closer to home. But it's got to be an IRS registered nonprofit organization. You have to do X number of hours, document it on their official letterhead so we can confirm it with them and document that or present that to the court. So those are options how we can pay off that $3,000. All right. So I'm going to send you downstairs on the $3,000. I'm going to send you downstairs to talk options. All right. So on today's file, normally I sentence $500 on this. So I'll do, let's see, 4 days. What is today? Early. July 10th. All right. So on today's file, it's $500 or 4 days on the work program or 30 hours community service. One of those three has to be done between now and July 10th on today's file. You understand that? You want to do work program? Set that up downstairs. All right. And as far as the 3,000, they'll talk about your options down there, whether or not you want to do work days, charity hours, some combination, they'll work something out. Understand that work program days are assessed as an alternative to jail. That means if we give you a schedule, we expect you to be here, because if we give you that seat, we can't give it to somebody else. All right. So if we give you a schedule and you don't show up for one of those days, we'll give you a reschedule once. After that, you're probably doing the jail days. I can't hear you. The work program isn't, I just said that. Work program is done here. You have to, if you pick work program, you got to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can't do it in Monroe County. My work program runs my 5 communities. I don't send a crew to Monroe County. The charity hours you can do in Monroe, but those aren't 4 days, those are hours. Charity is hours, work program is days, just like jail is days. So if you want to do the charity, go downstairs and talk about that.
The charity, that's what.
So on today's file, that means 30 hours between now and July 10th, documented by July 10th. Clear? Okay, go on downstairs.
Yeah.
Are you going to address your